To get to the merch store, just click on the link tree down below. Got a little tiny baby little Chucky here, little Chucky plushie. Kid Robot, isn't it? I think it's from Kid Robot, yeah. The funny Kid Robot NECA collaboration. Hi, everybody. Letty, hey Letty, how's it going? Hey Aisha, how's it going, everybody? Jenny, everybody, welcome, 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 welcome. Who has seen the Chucky first episode TV show yesterday? Let me know. Thank you, Jack. Congratulations on Amazon. Thank you. So, for those of you who haven't seen, let's begin with the TV show. I'm going to blend in here the poster. Let me also take the shirts down. I'm going to stand up for this portion of the video. Alrighty, so we got the official poster for the Chucky TV show. Such a rascal, isn't he? Such a little rascal. So let me tell you, spoiler alert, we're going to do a quick review of the first episode. And boy, it was amazing. Now, Don Mancini, openly gay, the maker, creator of Chucky. He has done a lot for Chucky. I didn't know there was a show, says Gary. If we're reviewing, it's fabulous. Yes, Gary, and I posted on my Instagram profile. And actually, Gary, you're a mod on my channel. I have posted already two reviews, two reaction videos for the Chucky TV show just a month or so ago on Totally Dacob channel. Just saying, Gary. Aisha says, I haven't. What is it on? It's on USA and Sci-Fi. Hey, Rich Mitch, how's it going? Angela here. Hey, how's it going? So yes, Angela here says, I hope it's not scary. It is scary. But it's not as scary as your usual horror movies. Now, I'm a huge horror movie fan. So for me, I actually don't watch, I told you this before, I don't watch horror movies to get scared. I just love the artistry of it. For me, it's just pure art. So horror movies to me, especially horror movies like Chucky, damn, they're art. They're just so beautiful. They're just the aesthetic of it. And Don Mancini has such an eye for aesthetic. It's incredible. So here we are. Hold on, I just have all my names because the characters are all still new to me. So some of the names I have to have them here written. I don't mind spoilers though, says Jack. Gary, it's not just about Instagram. I know you are. I know you are. It's here. It's on Totally Dacob. I posted two videos. So you can guys check out my reaction videos to the first and second trailer of Chucky the TV series. But now that the first episode is out, I will be giving spoilers. I said it before and I'm repeating it again now. For those of you who are writing me to repeat that I'm giving spoilers. Spoilers. Spoiler alert. From here on out. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. 3, 2, 1, here we go. So, now, after a vintage Chucky doll turns up at a suburban yard sale in an idyllic American town, this idyllic American town is thrown into chaos. Now, listen, it's a little bit like giving us Halloween Haddonfield vibes, even though it's a little bit more pushed to 2021. It's not like Haddonfield, Illinois with Halloween and Michael Myers, where every house, I mean, it was shot in Pasadena, but the idea was of having all of these houses middle class, middle upper class. Here it's a different story. With Chucky, we have the poor area and the rich area of town, kind of, because our main character, who's a teenage boy coming to terms with his homosexuality, yes, it's a coming of age story, and nobody like Don Mancini to deliver the homosexual aspect added to horror. And in fact, horror to me, psychologically, it has to do a lot with homosexuality as well. Not always, but obviously, but the horror of growing up and the horror of coming to terms with your sexuality within a society that rejects you and is against you is something that clicks very well with horror if done in the right way. And Don Mancini really delivers. So he directed the show, at least the first episode I've seen. He wrote it, he created the show. He is the creator of this gorgeous Chucky you see here back in the 80s. when he was very, very young. So he already had the stroke of genius with Chucky back then. And it just keeps on going. So queer representation, Jack says, come through queer representation. I'm telling ya. I'm telling ya. Not sure it will ever air in the UK, says Jack. Well, this is the thing about this series. I think this one is going to come out on DVD and Blu-ray after it has aired. It's not like with Netflix. They don't want to release anything on Blu-ray. I mean, sometimes they do in America. They did release Stranger Things. They did release Castlevania. Love Castlevania, by the way, on Netflix. But I do believe that Chucky will come out on DVD and Blu-ray as soon as the series has aired on TV. I mean, it has to. It's just so beautifully shot. And let me tell you, so it's a coming-of-age story, right? And our main protagonist, his name is Zachary Arthur. Let me show you how cute Zachary Arthur is. Let me show you. This is Zachary Arthur. So, by the way, Jack Weber. So this is Zachary. He's a teenage boy in high school. So his character's name is Jake Weber. So Jake is coming to terms with his sexuality. He has this room full of dolls. It's a bit scary. He's an artist. He collects dolls. He cuts them apart and puts them together again to create sculptures out of dolls. So he is working on a self-portrait of himself made out of dolls. It is spooky. Yeah, it is. And he's looking for new dolls to finish his sculpture. He's working on several sculptures, but the most representative sculpture is this kind of self-portrait of himself made out of dolls. That's kind of the main sculpture in his bedroom that he's working on. And in a yard sale, he comes across Chucky. Chucky is in a yard sale. A lady is selling him. She doesn't know how she got him. And she wants $20 because he's vintage. He's probably worth a lot. And then she says, "You're not into vintage, Jack." Wait, Jack? I always forget it. Sorry. I'm so bad with names at the beginning. I will remember his name by the end of the show. Jake. She says, "You're not into vintage, Jake." He's like, "I'm into retro." And she's like, "What's the difference between vintage and retro?" And then he says, $10. She's like, "Okay, Jake, you can give me $10 for Chucky." So Jake gets Chucky for $10, which is a dream come true for all of us horror fans. Oh, Chucky, let me. Hey, Chucky, could you imagine if you were only $10? Now, this is the iteration of Chucky from Child's Play 1/2. So he is a little bit different than this little guy here, because there is an evolution, obviously. You know, they're not making him 1-to-1 as he was in the 80s, but pretty close. Loving him, loving all of them. So we got Chucky. Chucky is back. However, the lady in the yard sale is also selling knives. She had kind of a collection of knives, kitchen knives, next to the Chucky doll. And as the Chucky doll is taken away, one of the knives is missing. She says, one of the knives is missing. I wonder who took it. Anyway, pretty soon, Chucky is at home with Jake. And Jake has a cat. The cat does not like Chucky. The cat feels something is off with Chucky. Chucky's like not talking, not moving. You know how he always plays his little shtick. He's not gonna do much. You know, he's just gonna be like, "Hey guys, nothing." He's just a doll chilling. He's a chilling little doll. But at one point, Jake leaves the room. The cat sniffing on Chucky, and then Chucky kind of hits the cat away. He's alive, and we know that he's alive. So his pupils dilate. We're realizing Chucky is alive. Oh yeah, baby. Chucky is alive. And so problems begin. Interesting to point out with Don Mancini, he always plays with duality and the number of 2. 2 is a very spiritual number, and a lot of different beliefs and cultures and religions 2 is a very, very symbolic number, okay? It is almost like the godly number. Now, what happens with this number 2 here is that everything is kind of doubled. We have the life of Jake with his father. We learn pretty early on that his mother passed away in a car accident, so he's living alone with his dad. They are in a low-income family. You want to say poor, a poor family. Barely making ends meet. It looks like the dad, he's always dressed up in a uniform, looks like he works in a car repair shop or something like that. So the dad is drinking, okay? The dad is an alcoholic. And Chucky, wait, hold on. Hold on, you guys, because I got the huge Trick or Treat Studios Chucky right here under me. Ah, there you go. You want to stand here while I talk? Or you want to stand? Where do you want to stand? Let me position you properly. You ready for this? Yeah. So, family portrait. So, he has a drinking dad, a dad with a drinking disorder. He's probably coming to terms with the death of his wife as well. And he doesn't want to accept the fact that his son is gay. They're not talking about it yet. But the show begins with the dad telling Jake, hey, your cousin and your uncle and their mom are coming to dinner tonight. Did you forget? And Jake says, oh gosh, no, I didn't. Yeah, I forgot. Okay, let's get ready for that. So we realize that Jake is not so happy to have a cousin or doesn't really like his cousin. Pretty soon we have dinner. And the cousin is a total douche. The cousin is the same age. They go together to the same high school. Male cousin. And at dinner, the cousin starts making fun, at the dinner table, starts making fun of Jake being gay. He starts calling him names. He starts telling, oh, you're playing with your dolls again, Jake. Oh, those are your best friends because you have no other friends. What, do you want to date your doll? Stuff like that. Like really nasty, nasty things and very, very irritating, super rude. Jake's dad gets angry with Jake's cousin who is Tio Brioni or Briones or Bryans, I don't know, but it's Junior Weber, the name in the show. So he gets quite upset with Junior Weber. And here's the number 2. I was mentioning the number 2, the magical number 2. So Logan Weber is Jake's dad. But Jake's dad has a twin. Okay, so Jake's dad's brother is his twin, acted by the same actor. So we have the two twins at the same table. A very peculiar moment because we realize they're twins. Jake and Jake's dad are poor, but the twin dad, or the twin of Jake's dad, is rich. Lives in a mansion with his wife and his spoiled brat of a homophobe child. But they came to have dinner at the poor house, Jake's and Jake's dad's house, where the cousin makes fun of Jake. So dinner ends. It's all quite sad. The dad realizes that, oh my God. And you know what? I gotta say, it brings back so many memories. This whole kind of, when somebody brings up like that you're gay at the table and then you think not everybody knows, you feel super uncomfortable, you try to change the topic, but the people keep pecking at you. Don Mancini, who wrote this, who's gay himself, you could see that he went through this himself. You see that he knows what he's talking about. I felt myself in that situation so many times in my life when I was younger. So I really connected to it. It really spoke to me. It really, really spoke to me. And of course, Don Mancini already had a stroke of genius when he did Seed of Chucky. So we will be unboxing Chucky from Seed of Chucky in this live stream. So yay, that's part of the party. And of course, in Seed of Chucky, Chucky has a baby. And the baby being, we don't know, is it a boy or a girl? And in fact, the baby is called Glenn or Glenda. It's a callback and a reference to Ed Wood Jr., the filmmaker, when he made Glenn or Glenda, his movie in Hollywood. We're talking B and Z movies, but still icon. So we have that duality that Don Mancini often uses. And also he splits between good and evil in a very intelligent way. We don't get to see good and evil as if they were black or white. With Don Mancini, there is duality. And that's why I love Chucky so much, because is he really evil? He is, because he's a killer. But here's the first twist. And this is what makes this movie, or this TV, I'm saying movie because it's shot so beautifully. It's like a movie. but it's a TV show. It's just so beautifully shot. The artistry, the cinematography, it felt in many ways, Don Mancini has a very particular aesthetic. He's almost like the American version of Pedro Almodovar. I love Pedro Almodovar. He's a Spanish director. The way that he portrays characters in films, rooms, and scenes, it's very detail-oriented. Cinematography is always very pop. It flashes in the right way. It's very saturated. He uses saturated colors and tones. Just beautifully pop. And Don Mancini has that aesthetic as well. He got to showcase it in full with Seed of Chucky, but now with the series, we're going back to that saturation of color. Cinematography is just delicious. Even when Jake at the beginning of the series goes to the Halloween, it's Halloween time. So it's so beautiful that we get to see the series in October when it's Halloween time. And in the show, it's also Halloween. So you have those gorgeous honey golden rays of light. Everything is slightly yellow toned and warm. We have that autumn light utilized throughout the series. It's very, very beautifully shot. So there's that to say. For a TV show, he goes way far and beyond what he could have done for TV. It has a cinematographic touch. Really, really beautifully done. And by the way, the city we're in is actually Chucky's. So actually, Brad Dourif, always. Brad Dourif was the voice of Chucky. So Charles Ray, when he was the murderer that he was in the 80s, right? In the TV show or in the movie, he came from this little town where Jake is living in. So Chucky kind of returns to his roots. And in fact, we have a little homage to something that, remember at the beginning of this conversation, I was talking about Halloween, Michael Myers, Haddonfield, Illinois, that whole vibe of, it gives us a little bit of that vibe of 1978 Halloween, but transported in the 20s. Oh, losing here bits and bobs. Hold on, getting thirsty. Drinking yerba mate. All right. So actually, at the beginning of the show, there's a scene that is very reminiscent. And here I think Don Mancini is homaging John Carpenter's first Halloween, because we have Ray's sister. Well, we don't know yet that she's his sister. But anyway, we have this lady, I think somewhere in the 60s. Did they reference 60s or 70s? I can't remember the year. But she's sitting at her beauty desk, at her beauty table, at her vanity table, mirror in front of her. She's combing herself in her nightgown, Now, in Halloween, the sister she had intercourse with her boyfriend, and then Michael Myers stabs his sister to death, and he's just like 6 years old or 8 years old at the beginning of the movie. So we were having these visions. We feel as if we are, when the Chucky show begins, we feel like we are in Halloween from John Carpenter from 1978, because Ray, let's say Chucky when he was a real person, we see that the point of view, the POV, is of Chucky. So it's like he has a mask on or something, and the camera is moving through the room, and we see that it's a little kid because the camera is very low, and it focuses on his sister while she's combing herself at her dressing table. And so he kind of comes to her, and then the scene, she turns around, and you think, oh, is she scared? Is he going to stab her? Just like Michael Myers stabbed his sister. But no, there's a cut, and we're back in more modern times. And we have the yard sale, and Jake gets Chucky. Then we have the dinner scene. The father has the official confirmation that his son is gay. That night, the cat disappears. Chucky kills the cat. He's really annoyed with the cat. Chucky cannot stand the cat. The cat is almost a little bit of it's not the same cat that we have in Aliens 2, but it could be. It could be also the cat from Pet Sematary. So there's a little bit of a reference there as well. A little bit of an Easter egg. So Chucky starts talking to Jake all of a sudden, but very, very slowly, like he always does. He, being the killer that he is, technically Chucky always wants to kind of leave the body of the doll and possess a human body so that he can become himself again. But at a certain point throughout the Chucky or Child's Play saga, he kind of towards the end of the saga that we know on in movies or direct to DVD or straight to DVD or straight to Blu-ray, like in Cult of Chucky, he kind of realizes he likes to be in the body he's in, even though he does possess Mika, I think. Oh, I forgot her name again. NECA. He kind of possesses NECA at the end of Cult of Chucky, so it's all a little bit blurry. But in Seed of Chucky, he comes to terms with his own dullness. So he kind of says, you know what, I just want to stay in the body of the doll. So there's this duality. We don't really know, does he, in this TV show, does he want to leave his body and possess another human body or not? Because in the first episode, we don't know this. He's not trying to exit his body and enter into a human body. He's not trying that at all. But what he is doing, and this is where the duality kicks in between what is good or what is evil. Yes, he does kill the cat, and that's terrible because we love animals. But the cat was annoying him after all. And he just doesn't like to be annoyed. He's just like, don't bother me. If you don't bother me, you're good. If you bother me, you're dead. You're dead to me. And so he does kind of kill the cat, but you good? Wait, hold on. Oh my gosh. Okay, he's standing on the other box. So we're at a point now where we don't know if he wants to possess a human body or not. Does he want to leave his toy body or not? We don't know. But he does start talking to Jake. And what does he do? He does his classic opening, closing the eyes, say, "Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to play?" Or, "Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to be best friends till the end?" So Jake looks at him and he's thinking, okay, so he is a retro / vintage doll, but he still functions. Huh, interesting. Well, anyway, let me try to rip his head off because I want to use the head for my sculpture. It doesn't work. His head just doesn't pop off. The dad comes into the room and is trying to kind of like tell him like, hey, what's going on, you know, with who you are and what you is and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, then we have the dinner scene, the outing of Jake being gay in front of his father. The cousin, the uncle, and the aunt leave. Jake is in the house. His father went up. So Jake comes upstairs and the father destroyed his sculpture. And the father says, no more dolls. He broke his entire sculpture. He's just super furious that his son is gay. He can't deal with that. He just can't deal with the fact that his son is gay. He destroyed his artwork. It broke my heart. It broke my heart when that happened. It just broke my heart. So Jake is all alone. His mom is dead. His dad is an alcoholic and a homophobe. Can't come to terms with his son being gay. They're in this poor house. So Jake would like to go to a special, like an art course next summer or something like that, but it costs over $1,000. The dad says, we don't have the money. You're not going to go. So Jake wants to sell Chucky. He figures out, he starts looking online like good guy doll, Chucky. He types it in and then he sees on secondhand websites, the doll goes for over $1,000. And that's more or less the amount of money he needs to go to this course. So he puts Chucky online. He tries to sell Chucky. Now, Chucky is not happy about that. But the second he puts Chucky online, he gets a phone call from somebody who I think is going to turn out to be Andy. Andy was the first kid from the first Chucky movie, the Child's Play movie, that Chucky wanted to possess. So if we go back into the 80s and we watch the first Child's Play movie, Andy is the first kid that Chucky kind of leeches off of and tries to possess. So Andy has been around throughout the whole saga of the Child's Play movies and the Chucky movies. And we receive a phone call. Well, Jake receives a phone call from a guy who I think is going to be Andy. And the guy says, is your Chucky doll doing strange things? And Andy says, Jake says, well, geez, you called me right away. That was like, because he got a message from this guy saying, hey, I'm interested in buying your Chucky doll. Jake then sent him a phone number, and Jake's phone rings immediately. So the person who I think is Andy called him to say, be careful. Did you check if your Chucky doll has batteries inside? He's like, well, he's fully functional. Jake says he's functional. He's talking. Andy says, check if he has batteries inside. Because we know from the first movie that actually when you open, we have this moment when Andy turns Chucky to the back, takes his little outfit off, and inside opens the patch with the batteries, and there's no batteries inside. In that moment, Chucky turns his head and says, ha ha ha, so he's, he's alive. So anyway, back and forth with this whole conversation. Now, because Andy wants to sell Chucky, before he gets a chance to check out that Chucky's batteries are inside or not, he doesn't want his dad to destroy him, because when his dad came to his bedroom to destroy his sculpture, he destroyed all his dolls, but he didn't find Chucky. Why? Because Chucky knew what was going to happen. So Chucky hid underneath the bed. So Jake's dad didn't see Chucky. So that's why when Jake comes back to his bedroom, his sculpture is destroyed. Under the bed, he finds Chucky. Then he figures out that he could sell him. He goes to school the next morning with Chucky because he's scared that if his dad finds Chucky, he's going to destroy him. And he doesn't want to pass this opportunity to earn $1,000+ so that he can go away from home. So he takes him to school, and that's the scene we have here. Jake is at school with Chucky, and of course everybody makes fun of him because a teenage boy with a doll, you know how kids are, they can be very vicious. So they're making fun of him at school. His cousin, who is dating this awful blonde young Karen, she's already turning into the Karen. She's a rich, mean little bitch. She sees Jake with Chucky in the hallway as he's going to his locker to try to put Chucky into the locker, but Chucky's head is too big. It doesn't fit into the locker. So she says, "Hey, Jake, I heard that you're poor. I'm so sorry. Well, do you need any help?" And she kind of says it really out loud so that all the kids passing by hear that Jake is poor. And you know how it is in America, money talks, and it's so terrible. And kids want to make you feel bad if you don't have money. It's just, you guys, just for the record, money does not make a person a good person or a bad person. So it's so sad that money has so much power in America. But anyway, Jake says, "No, we're not poor, And she says to his cousin, "Hey, why don't you give him some money?" He's like, "I don't have any cash on me." She's like, "Well, Venmo him some money." He's like, "No, I don't need any money." She's like, and then she starts yelling really out loud so that all the kids can hear. "It's okay to be poor. That doesn't mean anything bad, right? Right?" She starts asking all the kids around. So mean. So she gets this brilliant idea, this bitch idea, to create a GoFundMe to give money to Jake, but to make fun of him. So she makes that public so the whole school sees it. Everybody on their phone receives the message. And she does that while they're having biology class where they have to dissect a frog. Jake cannot stand the sight of blood. His teacher says, "Jake, you got to dissect the frog like this. Be careful, you guys. When you cut the frog open, the heart will still be beating." And Jake says, I'm sorry, I can't handle blood. He has Chucky with him in the class. They're like, "Why do you have Chucky with you?" But he wants to sell him. This is money for him, okay? So they tell him, "Hey, just cut like this. The incision has to be made like that." The teacher turns around, goes away. He tries to cut the frog, and then he kind of turns around and wants to vomit because he sees the blood and he just can't handle that. He just can't handle the blood. So he's kind of like down, kneeling. Chucky is like this, standing right in front of the table where the frog is, with a little scalpel knife in front of Chucky, while Jake is kind of almost barfing to the side, not looking at him. When Jake stands up again, the frog is not only dissected, but it is turned into a monster. It's cut in ways that only a serial killer would do. There, it was giving us Buffalo Bill. It was a Buffalo Bill moment from The Silence of the Lambs. Chucky's like all happy like this, and the frog in front of him, the heart still beating. They did wonderful special effect with the frog, by the way, and it's cut in a way that it's just gross. And the teacher comes back, looks at the frog and says, "Oh, Jake, this is not quite how you were supposed to do it." And then Jake says, no, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. It was Chucky. So anyway, Then the phones start popping. All the kids see the GoFundMe for the poor Jake, and they'll make fun of him, all laugh. The teacher is very upset about this. She takes the phone and looks at it. She realizes that it was the little girl, what's her name? Lexi Taylor. She figures out that Lexi Taylor was the one who did it. Biology class is over. The kids are leaving. She says, Lexi, can I have a minute with you? Okay, bitch. And she really like calls her out and says, you don't do this. But Lexi, being rich, says, you can't do anything. I'm helping the poor. She's like, no, you're making fun of Jake. Stop this. Take down the GoFundMe. She's like, why? It already made like $45 or $75. She's like, take it down and go see the principal. She's like, I don't care seeing the principal. The principal is friend with my mother, who will not donate any money to you anymore, to the school, if you don't do what I want you to do. So we have that power game with money again. And the teacher says, I don't care. You're just a bimbo. Let me get the principal or whoever is responsible, and we're going to talk about this. Now, she leaves Lexi alone in the classroom to wait while she goes fetch the superintendent. Lexi is along in the room with Chucky, because by this point, Jake has left the classroom. He asked his teacher, because kids are making fun of him with Chucky. He said, please, I want to sell Chucky. I don't know if he tells her he wants to sell Chucky, but he's like, can you please hold on to Chucky until the end of the day? Because people are making fun of him, so he'll pick him up. Not at the end of the day. He'll pick him up after he sold him. Just hold him until I sell him, because he doesn't want his father to find Chucky. He doesn't want his father to destroy Chucky. He doesn't want other kids in the school to see him with Chucky so that they keep making fun of him. So he asks his teacher if she can hold Chucky for him until he sells him. She says yes. So the Chucky's in the classroom with Lexi. And Lexi's on her phone. Chucky, of course, tries to kill Lexi. But right before he manages, so she sees that he's actually alive. Because at one point he moves. He stands in front of the door of the classroom, inside. She's at the table, at the teacher's table, looks at the door. He's there, and he starts moving towards her. In that moment, the door opens behind him and kicks him down. The teacher came back. So he falls down. Lexi is shocked. The teacher came down with the superintendent. The teacher and the superintendent are ready to kind of get psychological on this bitch, because she's all going to be like, I don't care. I'll do what I want to do. But no, instead, they find a Lexi that is terrified. She says, yeah, I'll take it down. I'll take it down. Okay, all good. Bye. Let me go. And she goes. And then the superintendent says, well, this was disturbingly too easy. Something is wrong here. But Chucky is there. So the teacher takes Chucky. She locks Chucky into her double-sided teacher locker. So Chucky's now locked in the locker, but we see a point of view of Chucky from inside the locker, terrifying, because you just see the darkness and the slit between the two doors of the double-sided locker. He's looking through it, and he sees the teacher's eye and face as she's locking the locker and leaves, and we hear him breathe. That's the end of that. The next day, we find out that somebody broke into the locker. It was Chucky, actually, who broke out. And Chucky is back in Jake's house. At this point, Jake starts thinking, how the hell? What happened here? How did he get back? He gets that phone call from Andy about the batteries. We have this scene, this deja vu from the first Chucky movie from the 80s, where he does turn him around, opens him up, open the battery hatch and sees that there's no batteries inside, but Chucky is still alive. So anyway, he takes Chucky. He's super upset. He throws him into the bin outside of the house. Here we have an Easter egg reference to Chucky 2. That's what happens in Chucky 2. Anyway, so at this point, we have an issue, because as we know from Chucky 2, when Chucky's put in a garbage bin, he don't like that. And right after he's put in a garbage bin, he's going to kill somebody. And that he does. So before all of this happens, we're having a special, there's an event at school, which is, I guess, a sort of a talent show. I don't know, every kid shows off what they can do. Lexi seems to be moderating this event. She's all dressed up in sequins and she's all rich, and she literally takes the mic on the stage and starts making fun of Jake. Starts pointing out that Jake is gay. Starts showing Jake is actually infatuated by one kid, and the kid, which I don't have here on the list, is one of his co-students. They study together. He has a crush on this guy. This guy has a podcast, talks about true crime, has a true crime podcast. So Jake, at lunch, before the talent show, in school, was listening to his friend's podcast. The friend arrives and says, "Oh, what were you doing?" And Jake hides the podcast, says, "Oh, I was just doing something else." And the friend says, "I actually saw that you were listening to my podcast." And Jake says, "Oh yeah, well, whatever. Like, yeah." You know, he's like so into him, but he doesn't want to show it off, so you come across even more ditzy when you're into somebody. So his friend says, "Hey, would you like to be on my podcast as a guest?" And Jake says, "Oh yeah, sure. Oh, I don't know. I can't. I don't know." Well, anyway, he feels guilty. He leaves. What's her name again? Lexi sees the whole thing. She figures out that Jake might be into his friend. So at the talent show that night or a night after, who knows with the time anymore, she makes fun of him. She points out to Jake sitting in the audience, laughing at him, saying, "So, that's your friend that you're like sitting parallel to? Or is it more than just a friend, Jake? Would you like to tell us something, Jake? Would you like to tell the whole school something, Jake?" I mean, it's terrible. Jake is so bullied. He's bullied to a point where, like, you push him, you push him, you push him. Like, this is how killers are made. Interestingly, also, how Don Mancini chose the soundtrack to this show. The soundtrack, all of the texts of all the songs that we've heard thus far are all connected to this concept of this is how killers are made. This is how murderers are made. Like, nobody starts off evil. So there's this whole little humming song in the background, these kind of like light pop tunes playing in the background, singing to us how killers are made, how serial murderers are made. It's a very, 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 it's delicious actually how it's done. So, but before Jake gets a chance to actually counter what, again, I forgot her name, Lexi says, we hear Chucky's voice saying something like, I don't know, making fun of her back. I don't know exactly his words. So everybody turns around, Jake turns around, and Chucky is sitting behind him. He looks at him, he's like, what the? So everybody thinks, oh wait, this is a talent show. So like Jake is puppeteering Chucky. So Chucky says, take me. So Jake takes Chucky, and Chucky kind of starts whispering in his, and then we see that Chucky's telling him like, take me on the stage. We're going to do a ventriloquist act. Just do as I say, and it's all going to be fine. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. So Jake goes up to the stage, holds Chucky, like this, right next to him, and Chucky starts talking. So for the first time ever, in a Child's Play / Chucky movie or TV show, we actually have Chucky talking to everybody. He's like, he found a way to finally reveal himself without really revealing himself, because everybody thinks that it's Jake being the ventriloquist puppeteering Chucky. So here we have Chucky, who still has the phone that he stole from the classroom. When Lexi was alone with him, she dropped her phone. That's how scared she was. Chucky snatched the phone. She left the classroom without the phone. Chucky now has her phone. He went through her phone. And now it's time for Chucky. And this is where I'm talking about the duality between evil and good. We still don't know if Chucky wants to leave his body and possess Jake. It doesn't seem so, because he's not alluding to it in any way thus far. Yes, he did randomly kill a cat, but that cat was really annoying. But here he is now defending Jake in front of the whole school. And I went, man, that's my Chucky. So Chucky's there talking, literally throwing shade at all of those assholes that were making fun of Jake. And then he did even a little bit more than that. So he says, hey, Lexi, I see that you're into Jake's Jake's cousin, Junior Weber. But then Chucky also says, oh, I see photos of Junior Weber, but I also see photos of this other guy, Lexi. Who are you into, Lexi? Oh, Lexi, I also see you visited some porn websites for anime characters. Huh, Lexi? Lexi has a younger sister who's in the audience, who at the beginning of this scene is very depressed, tiny little sister. You see, like, she has issues. But as Chucky started making fun of Lexi, the sister stands up, started smiling. The mother, Lexi's mother, and the mother of Lexi's sister, sitting next to sister, she realizes that her little child all of a sudden is chirping up, and she's like, oh, look at that. Look at that. She's having fun with this talent show that Jake is delivering. A little tiny flashback to when Jake had the dinner with his uncle and his aunt and his father and his cousin, when they had dinner at home, when his cousin called him out for being gay, called him out, outed him. Jake's aunt needed to go to the bathroom. She said, where's the bathroom? And then Jake's dad said, it's upstairs like where it always is. Why do you always have to ask? So she goes upstairs, but she enters Jake's room before she goes to the bathroom because she needed to make a phone call. She's hiding something. Chucky was in the closet hiding. He heard her phone call. She called somebody and said, hey, we got to meet tomorrow. Like, I got to see you again. So we are thinking she has an affair with some other guy or some girl. But she definitely secretly is calling somebody, or is being called by somebody, is making arrangements to meet somebody. Chucky knows. So now fast forward to the talent show act. He's calling out Lexi for being a bitch. Then he calls out the aunt and says, so the aunt has a little secret, does she? Would you like to share your secret with us? So he starts throwing shade at everybody who was being a bitch in some way, shape, or form to Jake. He defends Jake. He bullies everybody back. And the interesting thing happens very much like in The Simpsons. You know, there was this Matt Groening effect. We have this scene of the whole room laughing because they feel like they're being roasted. Classic American thing, the classic roast. Chucky was being super funny, charming, but a total bitch. That's how you roast a room. He was roasting the room. People were loving it because they felt like they were in on the joke. When indeed he ends his talent moment saying, so how does it feel now when all of you have been, cunts, and now you're like, you're getting what you were given. How does that feel? And that's the end of the show. They take, the teachers and principal or whoever come and say, okay, this is enough. He's been using really nasty words. They kind of come to take Jake off the stage. So Chucky had his moment to shine. Lexi's little sister is in love with Chucky. You see that she's a little tiny kid. She's not even in school yet. She's like, oh my God, this guy's so cool. And of course, we're all on the side of Chucky. Chucky wins us over because he literally fought for the underdog. He was fighting for Jake. So here's this duality I was talking about where evil is not always evil and good isn't always good. And Don Mancini is so brilliant at delivering this duality where you realize things aren't that easy. It's not that easy. You can't just say evil is evil and good is good. We are on the side of Chucky. We sympathize with him. After this moment on that stage, when he fought for Jake, it's an altruistic moment because as of now, we still don't know if he wants to go into Jake's body or not and possess him. No, there's none of that indication. He's just literally angry at the city and he's fighting for Jake. However, he is using Jake because, of course, the school thinks that Jake broke into the school to take Chucky out of the closet when in fact Chucky broke out on his own. So Jake is being blamed for that. That night, Jake comes home. His father didn't go to the talent show. His father is drunk. And his father almost beats up Jake because Jake came back with the doll. They had an altercation, and then his dad almost beat him up. It was so heartbreaking to see. But then, you know, the teenager in Jake just bursts out. So he puts Chucky on a little mantle place or whatever in the living room. He has the altercation with his dad. His dad lifts him up and, you know, like smashes him to the wall. And then Jake says to his dad, "I wish it was you who died in that car accident and not mom." And the dad just like freezes up and lets go of Jake. And Jake runs upstairs into his room and starts crying. The dad is like trying to collect himself. He sits back down on his sofa and lifts his bottle of whiskey, but the bottle is now empty. There was half a bottle full of whiskey. It's now empty. Chucky is missing. He's not on the mantle anymore, or wherever it was, a little shelf. Chucky is gone, so we know that Chucky drank the booze. And what happens next is very gory, but it is one of the best Chucky killing scenes I've ever seen. So obviously here we're referencing now Chucky 2 with the attack in the cellar of the house. So somehow through the actions happening in the house, the dad ends up in the cellar because something is going on, because all of the electricity went out. Chucky went to the cellar, unplugged all of the electricity. The dad is like, there's no light, he can't watch his TV show. He goes to the cellar to, you know, lift up all the fuses, reignite the electricity. And you best believe as he does that and the lights come back up, we see Chucky right next to him. He looks to Chucky. Chucky's like all like normal, you know, like this, like. But then he just turns his face into the face that we've seen. Actually, let me blend in the poster again. Hold on, you guys. I don't know if I can go back to the poster. Chucky poster. From the good guy's face, he turns it into that. And he's like, rah. And the cool thing is he doesn't have a knife right now. But because, this is why it's so fucking cool. Because like, okay, so the dad, Chucky kind of, I think, wait, I can't remember how it happened, but he took out the electricity while he cut it off again. So we have this fuse of electricity kind of bursting and it's on the floor. So how Chucky kills is because he drank half a bottle of whiskey, Chucky starts barfing out. This is like, it was so cute. I know you're going to be like, ew, but to me it was adorable. It was like an homage to the Garbage Pail Kids. He looked like a Garbage Pail Kid, barfing out liters and liters of barf, of liquid barf. So it's like Chucky, angry as he is, opens his mouth and just goes like, bleh. He's like barfing this liquid all over the place. The liquid touches the electric fuse and the dad gets electrocuted. So lights start going on and off, on and off. Jake upstairs in his bedroom is like, what's going on? He runs downstairs and he sees that the dad has been electrocuted. And Chucky is right there, so he knows that Chucky did it. So now the cops are in the house. Jake is completely losing it. He's sad, he's shocked, he's not talking, he doesn't know what to do. The cops are there. The cops think that it was an accident. The female cop responsible for this case is the mother of Jake's love interest. Jake has a crush on the son of the police officer mother. So it's all very intertwined. So now we have Jake's uncle coming to pick up Jake because Jake has nobody left. Jake is an orphan. His mom died in the car accident. He wished his father dead. Half an hour later, his dad dies. Chucky says, you know, careful what you wish for. So now he has no more mom, no more dad. He's going to go to live with his uncle. The uncle is the twin of his dad. It looks just like his dad. And of course, what does this mean? This means that Jake, with Chucky, is now being taken to the rich side of town, into the rich mansion. And we're talking rich. mansion. We're talking house where when you enter, there's like a double staircase winding from two sides, you know. You enter into the house and then you got the double-sided staircase. We're talking that type of rich. And the aunt takes Jake to his bedroom and says to him, Jake, at the talent show today, you meant that I have a secret. What did you mean? Now, Jake said, oh, nothing. I was just messing with you. I didn't mean anything. Jake can't tell her that it was all Chucky. But you guys, now for those of you who know me since a while now, you know how much I love Twin Peaks and how much I love David Lynch. You know what's coming now. When she opens the room, the aunt opens the room for Jake and says, this is your room. You can stay here. The best Easter egg ever. The best Easter egg ever. I loved this show from the get-go. But man, this scene, chills. She opens the room, the entire room. The wallpaper is the zigzag floor of the Black Lodge. So the entire bedroom that she's now giving to Jake has red panels alternating with zigzag, black and white zigzag patterns from the floor of the Black Room, of the Black Lodge, the red room in the Black Lodge, as well as the floor pattern of the Black Lodge. So he's entering this bedroom, which is obviously an homage to David Lynch's Twin Peaks. So it's like he's entering, oh my God, Don Mancini, goosebumps. Don Mancini really delivers. He totally delivers the duality. It's like Jake is now entering a parallel universe because it's just like his uncle is his dad. It's the same guy. They're twins. He was poor a second ago. Mother and father died. Now he has a new mother and father. He's in this new bedroom. The bedroom is rich. His reality is now totally different because he has this killer doll that makes everybody who dies look like Jake killed them. It's like his tulpa. And he's living in this bedroom that looks like the Black freaking Lodge. If that is not genius, I don't know what is. So at this point, Jake is in this new house. His aunt leaves his bedroom, leaves the door open. Jake has Chucky in his hand. He's walking towards the door. Opposite side of the corridor, his cousin, the asshole cousin who outed him for being gay, is in his bedroom looking at him. And Jake just slams the door at him. Then we have a cut to, again, the 60s, or was it 70s, when Ray was alive, still a real person. And we see him as a kid. So we see him come to his sister. She's combing herself. We think, oh my God, is he going to stab his sister just like Michael Myers did? But we have a twist happen there. He doesn't stab her. She says, oh, Ray. And she picks him up and sits him next to her. And she and him look at the mirror, look at themselves in the mirror. And for the first time ever, we have a reflection of Ray as a kid next to his sister in the mirror. And he's like smiling. And of course we have this whole theme. He's a nice kid. Murderers are made. They're not born that way. And of course the music kicks in and there's that beautiful soundtrack. We're kind of towards the end of the episode. Let's just call it, that's the end of the episode. Let me fade out the picture now. Thank you, Chucky. Can't wait to see episode 2. So this is Chucky the series, you guys. This is the first episode. It has a really high score on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that Rotten Tomatoes, whatever. But it does have a... Thank you for subscribing. So Chucky, oh my God, I love that. So it does have a great all over score on Rotten Tomatoes, and people, let me read a couple of the critiques from Rotten Tomatoes. Critique reviews for Chucky Season 1. Chucky walks a fascinating tonal tightrope as a funny, absurd series that engenders sympathy as well as shock. Somebody else says, EJ Moreno says, with a start this strong, Chucky has found a new home on television. I can easily see being this show's friend to the end. Tom says, while you won't have to worry about sleeping with the light on, meaning it's not that scary, the premiere is an effective, witty next step for the worst good guy ever. Chris says, horror franchises come and go, but Chucky is forever. I completely agree. As long as Don Mancini is making Chucky, Chucky is forever. Fans of Mancini's films will find plenty to like about Chucky, although the 4 episodes available for review are also accessible for new viewers. Rob says, offers an admirably different perspective for a horror franchise, but viewers will need to buy into the teen drama to appreciate this iteration of Chucky. Now, I gotta tell you, the teen drama is amazing. It works very well. It's a great iteration for Chucky because we did not see a teen drama yet. Yes, in Chucky 3, we do have a weird iteration of a teen drama because Andy is already grown up by part 3, and we see him as a teenager. He's been going from foster home to foster home, and he ends up in a military school. So he does have a love interest in that military school, but it's not really a coming of age teenage drama movie. It's more of like Chucky in military boot camp for kids, kind of. It's a weird. I love Chucky 3, but Chucky the series definitely is a teeny coming of age drama, with the addition of Chucky and with the addition of the gore and the horror and the fact that we have that other extra layer of questioning what is really good, what is evil. And then we have that extra layer of not just a coming of age drama for a teenager, but also coming to terms with one's own homosexuality. Man, this show, it really hits the spot for me. It really, really hits the spot and hits the mark. Just saying. Jorge says, I definitely want to watch this show now. And Famika says, such a good depiction. Thank you so much, Famika. Debbie says, has Don Mancini been watching Dacob? I don't know, Debbie, but Don has definitely been watching David Lynch. Now, I do tag Don Mancini in my posts of Chucky on Instagram, but he has never liked a single post, nor has he ever acknowledged my existence. So I don't think he knows or cares. Doesn't matter. I love him and I care. So, Chucky, are you ready for the next step? Oh, thank you for subscribing, Famika. Oh, we got Bob from Twin Peaks, just as a reference here. So, Chucky, we're going to do the next step now. Okay, so you guys. Let me sit down just for a second before we continue. Let me build up my chair, my director's chair. And let me read some of your comments, and let's get to, let's talk a little before we get to the next part of this excursion into the world of Chucky. Because you see, why I want to dedicate a whole live stream episode to Chucky is because he's not just a creepy horror movie. There's so much depth to this character, and there's so much duality to him that very rarely is something like this seen in horror, in the horror genre. Jack says, do we know how many episodes there will be? Loved the description of it. I wonder if the teens are going to be introduced to Chucky through this. I think they're going to be 8 episodes or 10. I don't want to say something wrong. Hold on, you guys. Let me check. I think, or is it 6? Let me see. I shall check it out. So the first 4 are already available for preview for some people. I've only seen the first episode. I haven't found the other 3 episodes. I think you got to be a part of some, I don't know, journalist or something. I don't know who gets to see all 3 episodes, to be honest with you. But also, I got to say, I'm so enjoying this not Netflix type of thing of like all the episodes at once. I like having to wait a week, not consume it all at once, you know, wait 1 week and then have the next episode and enjoy it and analyze it with you guys. And, you know, I'm enjoying this. I don't want it to be over. I just don't want it to be over. I want it to last as long as it can last, to be honest with you, because it's just that delicious. The cinematography and the writing are so good that I'm going to rewatch it. I'm going to rewatch the first episode a couple of times before the second one hits, for sure. For sure. So All right, let me see if IMDb tells us anything more. On Wikipedia, probably too, but I gotta look for Wikipedia now. So, 10 episodes. Methinks. I think next episode is coming October 19th. And episode 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Oh, 10 episodes. That's good. We're going to get 10 weeks of Chucky. Now, I don't know if they're going to play maybe 2 episodes on any given week or not. Next episode is October 19th. The third episode is October 26th. The fourth episode is November 2nd. And then that's how they go. So we're going to go through all the way through December with Chucky. I mean, yes, I'm all for it. 10 episodes is great. 10 weeks of pure Chucky pleasure. Louis says, I've been wanting to watch Chucky, but I want to start from the movies first. Yes, this is a good point, Louis. And I advise all of you to start from the movies first, because Don Mancini definitely tied in the series into the movies, meaning there is a logical as cuckoo as the logic is, there is a logical progression to the movies. It goes really from the first movie all the way to Cult of Chucky and then to the TV series. There is a line. It's a thin line because Don Mancini didn't do all the movies. He didn't write all the movies. So sometimes the structure veers off a little bit from the actual logic of it all. But Don Mancini really reined it back in a very, very interesting way. And